welcome back to my channel. So today we are doing thrift flips. So I'm so excited to share these with you. These were so fun and easy to make, and I really hope you enjoy them. So without further ado, let's get into it. For our first project, we're going to revamp this decor box. So I bought this a while ago at the thrift store. I don't even think I showed it in a thrift haul just because it looks so bad, but I figured I could give this a new life if I just tried a little bit. But first things first, we have to clean it and make sure we get off all that dirt and grime that was built up on it. Once it was dry, I moved on to spray painting with my Blossom White Satin spray paint. Now I use this particular spray paint because it's actually paint and primer in one, and I was also a little bit worried about the fact that that sunflower detailing might come out, but thankfully 2 coats was perfect for this. So I spray painted the inside and outside and let it dry before moving on to the next step. This picnic box was actually featured in my first thrift haul, and as you can see, I still have not done anything with it, but I wanted to reuse this leather, so I decided to take them apart and use it as detailing on my box. So here I'm just threading the metal buttons back on the leather clasp there, just because they fell off when I was trying to take them off of the picnic box. And in pure upcycling fashion, I ended up using this metal piece that I had from an old jewelry box that was just broken beyond repair. And so I wanted to reuse as much as I possibly could of that piece. And so I just hot glued it in place. Next, I took those leather straps and then dry fit them over the top to see where I wanted them to lay before I actually glued them down with hot glue as well. I was also very fortunate in this regard that the leather straps were actually the perfect size for the top of this decor box. And so I was able to have those metal clasps actually hang on the front of the face of the decor box, just giving it a little bit more of a detail that I really like. And so I repeated this step on the other side, and that was basically it in transforming this thrifted piece into something I can really enjoy. Next up is this candle sconce that I've been dying to recreate. And I'm going to use a cheap pizza pan in order to accomplish this. So I'll be using my flat black spray paint, and I'll also be spray painting this elbow too. If you're curious on the size of this elbow, it was 3/4 of an inch that kind of transitions to a 1/2 inch on the other side. So using short spurts, I just spray painted the pan as well as the elbow until it was completely covered. And as I mentioned before, this is a recreation of a thrift flip that Anna Sophia did on her channel, Fia Garcia DIY, so go check it out. It turned out amazingly beautiful, and man, I want it in my home so bad. So as you can see here, I'm using a plate to trace around to make my edges so I actually can create a design. And then I wanted to create an inner circle for my design as well, so I just used a smaller bowl and traced around that as well. And I purposely wanted to use items that people have just lying around their house so that they can easily recreate this if they wanted to. Next, I'm coming in with my paint pen and I'm creating my design. So on the outer line, what I'm doing is drawing a diamond and coloring that in with the exception of the inside. So I'm creating an open face circle inside of that diamond. And I ended up just eyeballing this design, so what I ended up doing was kind of just create diamonds across from each other, and then I just drew more diamonds in between those diamonds until I got the desired amount. If symmetry is your thing, or if you want a center point, I would suggest kind of marking where you want to draw those. Underneath those diamonds, I drew what I consider an upside down teardrop, or if you would think of an exclamation point. But I ended up drawing that teardrop shape in between the 2 lines that I drew prior to beginning this design. And I continued with drawing that design around the entire thing, working my way through. And once I finished that, I just completed the design with dots underneath those teardrops. So basically completing the exclamation point. I was inspired actually by a vase that I saw while shopping, and I wanted to recreate some of the designs that I actually saw on it. And I love that I did pick this design because it's so simple and so easy to recreate. And then last but not least, I just went in with my black spray paint once again using a paintbrush, and then just covered those lines that I drew previously. And I actually ended up going back in for a second time just to clear up those brush strokes that you're seeing me create right now. And this spray paint actually dries pretty quickly, so it didn't take long before I could attach that elbow piece. So I'm going to be using this elbow and a piece of cork that was from an old Decor bottle that I never ended up using. So I'm just hot gluing the cork piece inside the 1/2 inch part of the elbow and making sure it fits all nice and snug. And then using a combination of hot glue and E6000, I'm going to be gluing the cork piece to the pizza pan itself. And because I'm using E6000, I also want to wait a full 24 hours before putting this up and using it. But it ended up looking so great in my kitchen. And last but not least, we're going to make a wooden sculpture out of these wooden bowls. So I only used 2 of these bowls. The other 2 are for another DIY idea that I had in mind, but the first thing that I needed to do was sand them. This was important to take away the sheen, and also I wanted a more consistent look throughout the wood, and the poly was kind of coming up in some places. So I just sanded them completely. I didn't touch the insides because you're not going to be seeing the inside, and then I decided to leave it that raw natural wood color. Next, I took my hot glue gun and just glued around the edges of the bowl, and then I'm just going to take that other bowl and place it on top. Also, if you're looking at my fingers in this shot, I apologize. I got into a fight with a spray paint can, and the spray paint can won. So at this point, I could have left it as is, but I noticed the seam, and I just wanted to use this cane webbing that I had prior for other projects, and I wanted to put that around that seam so that you couldn't see it. In other words, I just wanted that webbing piece to look like it was a detail that was always meant to be there. So essentially what I did is just place hot glue on the ends. I didn't think it was necessary for me to glue the entire webbing around, and it was sufficient enough like I thought. And just like that, I made a cute decor piece with extra bowls I had lying around. Alright guys, that is it for the thrift flips today, but thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did and thrift flips are your thing and you want to see more thrift flips, definitely make sure you give this a thumbs up. Also, if you're not subscribed, if I pass that vibe check for you, definitely make sure you're subscribed and you hit that little notification bell so you're in the know when I post again. But once again, I want to say thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys!